Freestyle.
There's your work.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Advisor Club meeting.
Wait, the live stream thing, can you explain that?
Oh, yeah, so basically we have multiple ways for our members.
Okay, good luck, thanks for,
Leslie, I'll talk to you soon about the thing I gotta talk to you about. Yeah, so live streaming, we're trying to make ways for our members to get more engaged with our meetings. So obviously we do have our live stream via Twitch, and we do have our, we're recording on our Zoom meeting, and we put on our YouTube channel for our members to watch it afterwards. Because, some
it's just for the members.
that way, they,
Is it for everyone or just for members?
Yeah, for sure, for everybody. So basically, if they have a class, if they have a class during this time, that will miss the meeting, they want to show up, they can watch the video right there,
So is it on YouTube? So we're on YouTube?
Yeah, you're technically live on Twitch, but this is basically recorded.
Okay.
So, all right, so with that being stated, I know.
So this will be
Yes.
aired on YouTube?
This will be, yes, when we do have it recorded and everything, we'll still make it nice and neat.
You'll send it to me first.
Oh, yes, I will. I definitely will. Yes. All right. With all that out of the way. Everybody, welcome back to the Wealth Management Advisory Club meeting. Hope everyone had a great day yesterday. We had Valley Bank come in. I want to thank Professor Bowman for allowing us to have that event with them. Today, we have a special guest here. Obviously, you guys probably remember these people before. They did come in last year to speak to us. Wiss & Co. Fun fact, I actually interned with them this summer in August, so very excited to intern with them this summer. So basically, I'm going to pass it over to Mark just for introductions, and I'm going to pass it then over to Stephanie. And basically, you can speak to there. We have the camera there, so don't worry about this. I just basically pretended. So with that, guys, please your cameras on, ask a lot of questions. Let's make this as engaging as possible. And with that, Mark, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kat. Thank you guys for all joining us today. My name is Marc Peterson. I'm a manager here with the people operations team at Wiss. My responsibilities fall into the recruiting world, actually. So I handle all of our intern and entry level hiring programs here at the firm. We help out with our wealth management team as well. So I'm thoroughly connected within each and every practice area at the firm at this point in time. In terms of the firm itself, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an introduction to who we are if you're not familiar with us. So Wiss is a mid-sized regional CPA firm based here in Florida Park, New Jersey. We have multiple offices in the tri-state area, though. So we've got our corporate headquarters here in Florida Park. We've got New York City. We also have our third office out in Flemington, New Jersey, and then we also opened our fourth office in Boca Raton earlier this year. The firm is doing very, very well. We're on a very hyper growth path at the moment, having gone in the last 3 years from about 170 employees to 300 plus. We're all very proud of the challenges that we faced throughout the pandemic. But in terms of the firm itself, we offer the traditional audit, tax, and advisory services. When it comes down to the larger portfolio, wealth management falls into a little bit of its own entity, and that's what we're here to talk to you guys about today. Offer a little bit more color on just how the operation works within this group in particular. A lot of the opportunities with Stephanie, our CEO. In terms of the firm itself, if you are interested in opportunities, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. We've got all of our postings up on Handshake, our website, LinkedIn. Jack can tell you I'm a pretty easy guy to get a hold of when it comes down to them. So that being said, I will turn it over to Stephanie.
Thank you.
A little bit of wealth management. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you so much for having me. Another year. Thank you to you for organizing all of this at the Wealth Management Club. We're honored to be here. We also have two wonderful FDU alums who graduated very recently who are on our team, Celeste Arroyo and Kiana Touche. So please feel free to reach out to either one of them to know what it's like to work with us as well. These guys graduated, they did the accounting track 4+1. It's very applicable to a multifamily office like ours. What we do at Wiss on the wealth management side is, as I mentioned the term multifamily office, I'm going to define it. It's really catering, we cater to the needs of every member of the family in high net worth and ultra high net worth households. Anything from tax planning, tax compliance, outsourced accounting for their trusts, paying paying bills, managing a portfolio, doing financial planning for the grandkids, legacy planning, figuring out how to stretch the money to the third generation in the most tax efficient way possible. That's all part of family office. Now, so you may have heard the term multifamily office and single family office. We are a multifamily office, so we bring to ultra high net worth individuals the service that you would afford if you had, in the past, it was $100 million. Now it's closer to $1 billion. You would typically open your own single family office. So we're taking that downstream to clients that have less money than that. And we're offering all of these concierge services. As you imagine, it's very difficult operationally to put all the pieces together. And that's where we excel, really. And it's very hard to replicate that. So we have very little competition in terms of service, I would say, and the service lines that we offer. And we offer them in a very integrated fashion. So each family gets a team of people at their disposal, really, to speak with about any issues that are related to wealth. Why you would go with a multifamily office versus a bank or versus a standalone wealth advisory shop is because you have that wealth that creates complexity. So that creates all sorts of issues. So with more money comes more issues when it comes to tax, right? You're paying 40% to the government for every dollar over $22 million as a married couple. You're paying 40%, your kids are going to pay 40% tax on that. Now, these are problems, of course, that you have at that level, but those are the people that we help who need the advice. They need to know how to preserve their money throughout these generations. They need to know how to help their children create better savings habits so that their wealth doesn't get destroyed, after having worked so hard to build it. They need to understand how to tie it into the business and how it flows, to and from the business as well. So the banks cater typically to the high net worth individual. They can cater to ultra high net worth individuals. However, they don't have the accountants to help them on the tax side, on the accounting side. They don't have the accountants to help them with the growth of their company. So they're really not equipped for the same type of clients. Our sweet spot is really the client that has amassed wealth from a business. And so Wiss has been in the business for, let's just say, decades. And they built that trust with the business owner. The business owner eventually needs help. They're getting close to potentially selling the business. They need to plan for that. So that's when the family office typically gets introduced. If we get introduced in the case of an investor-backed client, when the client is small, there's a private equity firm that's helping them grow. That's actually better because we're building that trust during the growth stages. So by the time they sell the business or they exit, it's already all planned out. We've built the trust. They sell the business. We help them afterwards. They get all the appreciation, for example, of their, of whatever assets they put into trust early on. And then, we kind of maximize the potential of the money. So, in terms of the different layouts and the different structures of why would you work at a family office versus at a bank as well, we are a fiduciary. So what that means is we are governed by the best interest standard. We have to do what's in the best interest of our clients. That means we don't have commissionable products. We don't make commissions. It's really, we're not incentivized to sell one thing over another in the portfolio. It's the same to us. We're agnostic of product. We're agnostic of where the assets sit, and we're independent from that. So Wiss doesn't have a structured product that we make 5 or 10% on every time we put in a portfolio. We have, also a custodian where we hold the assets. It's separate from Wiss. That means there's no conflicts of interest when it comes to, well, let me put them in this product, or let me put them in that product. I'm gonna make more in this product if they're in this product. So we're not choosing products because of the way we get paid. So that is called the fiduciary standard. The banks have an exemption from acting as fiduciaries. They are governed by the suitability standard. So for them, as long as it's suitable to sell a certain investment to the client, they can sell that investment. So it's a little bit different. They can accept commissions for products, things like that. So they're exempt from that fiduciary standard. So the banks also are incentivized to sell their own products. So Merrill Lynch wants to sell, they make it easy for the advisors to sell Merrill Lynch specific products, portfolios, structured products. So those are two big differences. The other main difference is that in terms of the expertise of the client's business and the expertise on the tax side with different tax structures, on the estate planning side, we have all of those capabilities in-house versus a financial institution is really driven, they're really driven on the portfolio side. And, in terms of tax, accountants, trust and estates, experts, like they don't have those extreme capabilities in the house. They're usually kind of referring those out. So for us, we consider ourselves a full service one-stop shop versus another wealth management institution who might not have all these capabilities in-house. And again, with that comes complexity. So in the multifamily office, we have roughly 30 people working. It's under the umbrella of Wiss. On the wealth side, we are 7 currently and growing. We have a lot of amazing talent, very driven individuals who are all hands on deck. We're very entrepreneurial. We want everybody to grow. We want everybody to succeed. We want everybody to do well. We want to, if we can, promote from within, train, and people kind of take the bull by the horns and do what they can. And the more interested in the subject matter that you are, the better for us. So we have different kind of everybody. When you come in, you learn from the ground up. You learn how to do things. You learn the business. You learn different parts of the firm, really. You learn about what it takes to service a high net worth individual, and then you specialize once you learn the basics and what you want to do. Some people want to specialize in portfolio management. They love that. That's their passion. Some people want to do planning. They love helping the client. They have that compassion for people. They want to help them through, all the ups and downs of their lives. They want to create different scenarios for them to be successful. So it just really depends what you love doing. And you might not know when you come in, but eventually you kind of get a feel for what you're good at and what you take interest in. And then we would push you to do that. We're small enough to be able to do that. And then we would help you where you need improvement. And we do give very direct feedback and very honest feedback because we want to help you. The team is very, I would say, driven to help each other too. Everybody, has been amazing to new people, helping train them and helping them understand where everything is. And we just love people. We just love watching people come in and grow and become something. So it's a very entrepreneurial culture, and we definitely take pride in our people. They're our biggest asset, obviously. We want to make sure everybody's happy. Marc's team does a great job as well in making sure everybody's energized on a daily basis. We've got a lot of events happening. This week, how many events? We had Thanksgiving at lunch, was it?
Yeah, we got Thanksgiving upcoming. We just did the Fall Festival.
Fall Festival, yeah.
We'll have the holiday party.
It's like
6 weeks.
pretty fun.
Which is wild when I think about it. Yeah. The whole year's gone by quickly.
Yeah,
To say the
so
least.
these guys have culture, and it's really a very friendly environment. You can walk up to anybody at any time of the day if you need help with anything. You know, I've never encountered anyone who's like outright rude to anyone else in there. We're very protective of the culture. We want to make sure good people come in who are going to elevate everybody else. Do you guys want to say a couple words? Travel is a path too, so you get some more relatable.
Hi, my name is Tiana Tisha. We both did our undergrad and master's here, both in accounting. I've been with Wiss since January 2020. I did full round internship from tax department, litigation department, insurance department. Then I found myself in the wealth management department, and I had a minor in wealth management, so that's how. So that's basically my little journey from 2020 to now, almost 2023. Makes me think it's about 3 years like this. I do a lot of live streams. Yeah,
We're working on that.
We'll figure
it out. Don't worry.
Authenticity is appreciated.
I got you.
So I've been with the wealth management department since August of last year, and I've been blessed to be able to start full time. We've also brought in Celeste. We do a lot of the everyday stuff from money movements, journals, wires, helping people plan out their retirement, helping create 529 plans for their grandchildren and for their children. We help basically break down what it is, what are the limits that increased here from last year. This year, last year was 15,000, or lump sum in it, 75,000 for 5 years. This year it's 60,000. So we are able to communicate to clients that opened last year, 529, and they just had a new grandchild this year. You're able to contribute $80,000 now. So we're very much are simple focused, and we love to break it down for clients who we want to break it down, and we don't want to keep it as ultra high net worth. And then we'll break it down, help you teach everything, all the different little compliance stuff that a regular client might not know. We have a lot of clients who do have a lot of money, and they have children that are adults, but they aren't very high net worth savvy. They don't know that they are coming into this money. So we have clients asking us, like, can you please handhold our children and like walk them through, because when they go, like, they don't want their kids to go through all the money. It'd be nice to just come into $1 million, but obviously we help each family, and we want to keep the generation lives. So we want to help parents as well as their kids or their future grandkids, and we want to keep them not only at Wiss, not only will Wiss family office with the ultra high net worth, but we want to keep them together and build the trust. Miracles, tax payments as well. So and along with the tax side and preparing your tax payments, we actually do physical payments and sending out checks so that the clients don't have to worry about doing that themselves, or remembering if they sent it out, or knowing which checkbook has $10 and which one has 100,000. So we keep all that organized, and we're able to give our clients a peace of mind. All right. So let's been with us about 3 weeks now.
That's it?
Yeah. So
I feel like you're part of the
party.
I really like Wiss. I think the culture is very fitting for 2022, 2023, very progressive company. My previous employer was not. So having that difference really stands out and really shows you where you want to go in life and what you hold close to your heart with what you want to do with your career. But Kiana's a great teacher. I literally sit right next to her. I've been for the past 4 years, so. But yeah, I think you can learn fast, and as long as you have your notes and you keep yourself organized, you can see yourself getting involved in a lot of projects.
Yeah, definitely a lot of projects, and I think if Mark is able to keep such a good communication, if you do end up one day in the wealth management department or some other department at Wiss tax, and you go realize the year in that tax isn't really where your heart is, we don't want to see you go to another company. We'd love to see you explore litigation or insurance or wealth management in our company. So if we have a good employee, not mine, but if we have a good colleague and you like the company and we like you, and you obviously do hard work and we've seen that you've tried, maybe it's just not for you, like we'd rather see you in another spot in the company than leaving us.
Yeah, you guys talked a little bit about coming on board those first, few weeks and maybe more so. Johnny might be able to touch on this during your internship experience, the hands-on learning aspect of it all. I think that would be beneficial, especially with wealth management.
Specifically wealth management? Or
Yeah.
Wiss, any Wiss research?
I think it applies across the board, but we'll stick to the wealth management. Since that's what we're talking about.
So basically transitioning from an intern to full-time employee, we'd love to have you there as many days as possible. Being that we did go to FD, we're literally across the street, so it's very easy. But group-wise, we remain highly full-year remote, so we do 3 days in the office now, 2 days at home, so it is a little bit easier if you are farther away to become part of the team. We like to get you hands-on every single aspect. We're gonna keep you a little bit if you're an intern, obviously more concise. We're gonna have a lot of reviews because we're doing a transfer for million dollars. Type in an extra zero, that's really bad. So obviously we're gonna keep it internal. We keep a chat with internal people as well as our higher ups, our CFPs, our CEO. We keep the open flow of communication on chat whenever you're at home. We're constantly on Teams calls. If you have any questions, call. Hey, you have a question, call, text, Teams meeting or anything. So we always keep communication very open. We have a lot of Teams sheets. So if you are going in there, anybody can go in there, review it. Hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. Or Celeste, especially now that she's doing a lot more like emails. Hey, can you just read this, make sure it sounds good? Like we're very open. We obviously have to drop anything to help because we help you, so you help me. These help us. So that's basically how we work. So if I don't know anything about the street stuff, and she's the CEO and she's always available.
I might not have the answer, but.
Yeah, we're obviously very new to the company, 4 years, so if I don't know, I'm gonna go and research, do my best, or reach out to an accountant, and I'll ask them, and we'll put all of our brains together to get you the most accurate, appropriate answer.
First day, they say, enjoy your time. You're not gonna have a lot of free time. My first day, I had really no free time. I got right into it, but I really appreciate it so that I could learn faster and be more part of the team and try to be as more efficient as possible. Now we can just make our clients happy. But other than that, it's great.
I think we're definitely, our department specifically, we're very hands-on. We want to get you out there. I mean, I know when I've only trained 2 people, obviously I haven't been very long, but I'll ask, like, what's your learning style? Kinesthetic, do you want me to walk you through it, or do you want me to do it and watch? Do you want to take notes? So like, obviously our department as a whole, like, we want to help you learn the best way because that makes it easier for me, obviously. But I want to be able to help you understand the way that you need to understand. Or Celeste would sometimes she's kinesthetic, so sometimes she wanted to do it and I sat there and I walked her through it. Or sometimes if it was a repeat of something, she's like, you do it this time and I'm gonna take my notes. And then she took her notes for next week. So that definitely helps a lot in any aspect, not just wealth management, but any career opportunities.
Anybody on Zoom? Any questions? They do have their camera on. I think they're just having technical difficulties.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Hi. So not what do you think maybe some of the advantages are of working for a smaller firm as opposed to maybe a bigger corporation?
Can I expand upon that real quick? Because that was the question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
That was the question I was going to ask before we went live. I wanted to see, can you share a little bit about your experience starting at a place like Merrill versus how Kiana and Celeste started in an environment which you got warm leads versus cold leads?
Yeah, so I came from Merrill Lynch 4 years ago, where I was an advisor in wealth management. Prior to that, I was at UBS. Prior to that, I worked on the institutional side in sales and trading, emerging market bonds and currencies at Goldman Sachs and a French bank called BNP Paribas. So this is my second career, but I've had 2 careers at these larger institutions. I would say the main difference is the depth and level of what you get involved in. If you're at a large institution, they're made, and they do it very well, they're made for you to really focus on one thing and one thing only. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, it's just a very different model. So here on the team, you can get involved in anything from portfolio management to financial planning to service to account opening to you name it. I mean, we have conversations that aren't even financial with the client. There's just so many things that you learn. Billing, operations. I mean, it's like, the amount of things that you learn if you're on a team, if you start on this team, is incredible. I mean, you'll learn how to essentially run a company or a business from start to finish. In a bank or a larger institution, it's made for you to do a lot of one thing and a lot of one thing very effectively. So if you're a financial advisor, it's created, in my experience, for you to go out and gather assets, right? So you get a phone, you get a computer, and you get your targets. And your targets, in my situation, you had to either bring in $20 million in the first 2 years of external client assets, or you had to bring in, I think it was $1 million every month that you could choose. That model is very sales based. Whatever your job is in the front office, you're in sales. And here, you'll never have to sell anything. We have the client base, but you'll have to learn the business, learn the clients, learn how to service them, learn how to do, so I would say it's more entrepreneurial, and the depth of your knowledge goes a lot deeper. We've had people from the banks come work with us, and sometimes they had a lot of experience, but it didn't work out because they could not dig through things and have that level of expertise. It was a more shallow type of expertise at times. And so for a firm like ours, it didn't necessarily translate, which is why we like to train people. So it's the exposure and the depth of what you learn, I would say, is very, and the upward mobility. Like here you get a lot of opportunity to move up pretty quickly if you're good at what you do and you're a team player and you're proactive with your career. I think you get a lot of opportunity in a smaller environment. People will recognize you if you have a good mentor, good structure there, and they'll want to pull you up. At a bank where I was, I always felt like it was like you're kind of on your own. And it was like, here's a phone, here's a computer, go get the assets. And it was less, you learn less, it's more salesy. That was my experience.
I think a little bit to bounce off. Well, I've never been to another company besides this, honestly. But hearing from Celeste, she came from another bigger firm and she had no idea who the partners were. Our company is so intermingled, everybody's right there available. I walk by strategic partners and they say, hey, good morning, Kiana, and they actually know my name. So I think that's definitely a big key and question internally, like what do you want for your job? Do you want to know your coworkers? Do you want to know your bosses, your managers? Do you want to feel comfortable talking to them? Or are you more of an introvert or someone who'd rather just sit at their desk, completely open, possibly? It's more of how you want a relationship at work. There are people who want to keep work and home, or I feel that way so we can keep keep it a little bit of a circle diagram. We can get a little more diagram, and overlap.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that was the key point.
I will ask a question. I usually ask this question at all of our meetings because we have this challenge set by, we have markets up to every Tuesday with our alumni, John Wiss. And he found out that there's a study that went around, I think, the Northwestern Mutual, that found out that it actually takes, I think, $1.25 million to retire at like 64 years of age. Like, is that enough money to retire at 64 years old, or do you think it's a lot more? And how we make it last? And I usually ask that for speakers to come in just to get their opinions.
That's a great question. It depends is the answer. And I hate to say that, but it does depend, because if you spend $100,000 a year and you retire at 65 and you live till 90, then you need $2.5 million a year without inflation. $2.5 million total. So, you know, it depends what you're spending. So if you spend half of that, you'll need half of that. Then you've got to tack on the inflation, right? So it depends.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be, depending on your spending. But yeah, that's not, it sounds very scary. And, you know, it's, you know, when you back into it, if you start young, if you can afford to save a little bit when you're younger, it really does pay you dividends. So we always talk about the example of what happens when you're 25 and you're saving a student note, you're not paying tax every year, and you're saving $1,000 a year for the next 40 years, right, till you're 65. Sorry, $1,000 a month, not a year. And start with $10,000, and you grow it in a portfolio that's, you know, balanced at 7%. Let's assume those are the average returns, and you're not pulling money out. And the sequence of returns is going to be different, but start with $10,000, save $1,000 a month for 40 years, 7%. At age 65, you'll have $2.5 million. So it's doable, right? It's just very hard if you don't have that discipline to do it, and most people don't. And, you know, we might get a call when they're 60 and saying, I don't have any money, what do I do for retirement? And, you know, by that time, it's very hard, but you have Social Security if you have worked 10 years and you've made a certain amount of money. So that might not be enough, though. It usually isn't. So, you know, getting started early is really will get you ahead if you can afford to start early. Most people can't, and most people also, you know, it's hard for you to think about it when you're so young. To save for retirement. That's the last thing you want to do. So.
You know, I say to that as well for every wealth management firm that comes in. I know there's like the CFA exam. I know most of our members are finance majors. They are glancing at the CFA exam. Do you feel like for wealth management, do you feel like are like the firms looking for, actually this is you guys looking for people who are planning on taking the CFP exam or taking the CFA exam? Because I heard from like other speakers that came in and said, oh, I'll take the CFA, others take the CFP, others take both.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it depends on, you know, your personality and what you aspire to do going into wealth management. Kian is studying for the CFP. We have somebody else on the team, he's studying for CFA. So it just, you know, it depends what your real focus is. If you're going to be dealing with clients, then the CFP is the direction that the business is going into. Because as the investment piece is getting more and more commoditized as time goes on, which it is, you have companies like Vanguard and Betterment and places to go where you can go do these things for free if you're not worth $100 million, then you know, you want to be more focused on the CFP because you want to provide that value to clients because the portfolio is worth less now, right? That investment management piece. On our side, like I said, we have somebody who's basically runs our trading operation, and he's very focused on the portfolio, and he's excellent at it. And he loves analytics, and he's very curious about that side of things.
and it makes him phenomenal because he's so interested in it. So he's doing a CFA, that's appropriate for him. That's the direction he wants to take. Those jobs are few and far between too. If you go to a larger firm, being in a position like that is more difficult just because they have established those departments already, and then the client facing stuff, that's, if you're good client facing and at the larger firms, if you can quote unquote sell, they're going to want you to be client facing. So there's more opportunity for CFPs, I would say, if you're going that route. But if you love the portfolio, then you get to pick what you love. So it's,
What makes Wiss such a great firm to work for? Because I've interned with, even when I talked to Mark about this back when it's time I interned with Deloitte and with like what makes Wiss stand out as like, a good firm to work for?
that's all.
I'll take.
Mark,
I'll
you
tackle
start.
that one. So, listen, in my opinion, I think, what sets us apart from the other firms realistically is going to be the culture and people itself. When I think of my experience over the course of the last 3 years, I've had the unique opportunity to partner with pretty much everybody, the open dialogue, the ability to effectively communicate, strategize around how our hiring needs to look and what we're actually doing in order to accomplish them, has been, I think, probably one of my favorite experiences across the course of my entire career. And that wouldn't be possible without people. We make what Wiss actually is. When I think of everybody, the old cliche of we're one big happy family, well, here we're one big happy community. When it comes down to it, we're all working towards a common goal to make this place, the best that it possibly can be, somewhere that we can all see ourselves 20, 30 years from now. Listen, I'm really hoping at some point Stephanie's telling me I've got 3.5 million in the bank that she's managing for me. That would be fantastic. But realistically, it's the people. As cliche as it might sound, I've never worked for a company that's had a better collection of professionals than just people that I've now become friends with. We're not just coworkers and colleagues. We are, people that I would go out and actually hang out with.
Yeah, we actually like each other.
Yeah,
So,
I've worked for plenty of places where you wouldn't catch me dead hanging out with some of the people that work there.
we enjoy our time
Here,
together, I would say.
Very different story.
Yeah.
So,
I think someone on Zoom, but I think Kevin, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I did. I just want to make sure. Can you hear me properly?
yeah.
Okay, awesome. So this is a question for like advice for myself, at least. I'm really headstrong on what I am passionate about, what I like, which is like equity research, trading, portfolio management, IB. But I find it really hard to break through in these industries if you don't start early. On the other hand, I've gotten plenty of opportunity offers in areas like rotational programs with operations, internal audit, et cetera, at retail banks. But I don't find that to be something that I'm extremely passionate about. Do you think it would be not a waste of time, but beneficial for myself to kind of just put myself in these positions to get me going? Or do you think I should just continue on the path of trying to do what I want to do?
That's a great question. I would say, personally from experience, if you can try to go down the path of doing what you love doing, even if it's for a firm that, you got to start somewhere, because the reality is, like you said, equity research, all of that, that's hard to break into. Like I said, the CFA type jobs are hard to find. And the bar side, there are very few spots. But I would, if you're passionate about something, someone's going to interview you, and it might not be in your first job, but if you keep going and grinding away at what you're passionate about, somebody's going to help you. Someone's going to interview you and feel that passion, and they're going to think you're an asset to the company. So I would just keep on talking to people and try to get something related to what you're passionate about. That's what I would do. Now,
You know, because what's gonna happen, what happens if you start somewhere and you know that you don't like what you'd be doing, that whoever you're working with is gonna feel that. And they're not gonna help you then if you're not going to put your best foot forward. So I would keep going. Having said that, like, we all need a job, right? So you have to, you know, kind of try to balance the two. But if you keep going, it only takes one, right? You apply 100 places, it only takes one, and you might not find that one right away, but eventually, like, you know, if you do well, people are gonna, you know, someone's gonna help you. I promise.
Kevin, I'll share a little anecdote from my own career path. I graduated with my degree in accounting as well. I spent the first 10 years of my career performing that function. And while I had success within those roles, there was a part of me that knew I just wasn't going to be an accountant, I think, forever. So it took about a decade for me to figure out what I was passionate about. You know, there is a sociability aspect of my DNA core, you know, that I could not ignore. So getting into talent acquisition, HR, was something that, you know, I was determined to really kind of accomplish for myself as I made the change. You're early enough in your career where I think you've got plenty of time to, you know, chase what you're looking for and passionate about without having a lot of fear behind it, because you can ultimately come back to something else if you do decide that, hey, that passion project of yours isn't going the way that you want it to. That being said, I'll couple it with, make sure you reach out to me when you're getting those interviews. I'd love to be able to help get you prepped for them.
And yeah, and you should reach out to us directly too on the team, because we'll help you, steer you in the right direction, and you can meet some more of us and ask us questions, and, you know, we have contacts as well. So
We'll share that with
share it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for answering that. It's really uplifting, especially when you're applying to dozens of places, and it can be discouraging. So
Yeah, the job application process can be a frustrating one, you know, even in a market in which we know that, you know, there's a lot of roles out there, and there's an abundance of candidates too. I think finding something that fits what you're looking for is great. I do also find value in building your skill sets, you know, the experience that you gain through internships or full-time roles, while even if not necessarily in the exact field that you're looking for, can potentially put you in a position to get the interviews that you are targeting more specifically. So just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Yeah, that's all.
And also, like, you know, if you end up getting something that's not your ideal, you don't know how you're gonna like it when you get it.
Gotta try.
Keep the open mind, and it may lead to something else, like you said. You might, you know, within the company, they might have another division, but whatever you do it well, because if you don't, then you're potentially gonna lose an opportunity from someone who sits next to you, or your manager, or somebody you work with, to say, like, you know, this guy's awesome. You know, this is not a good fit for him. He doesn't love this department, but, like, I'm going to introduce him. My brother is in equity research at XYZ here, and I'm going to introduce him there because he's just works very hard, or excels at what he does. So just make sure you're always putting your best foot forward, even if you have to settle for something.
Not necessarily in love with what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's all.
thank you very much.
All right, just ask a question to you, because I know you both went to SDU. What was your, like the spot, but what was your favorite FU silver moment that you ever had? Because I know I've had a couple of mine, but I don't, so like, I'm just a junior, I'm going into my senior year, even one of my 4+1. What was your best, like, your favorite moment at FU silver?
Do you already get?
Loaded question.
I was part of Beta Alpha Phi, so with that I got to meet a bunch of different firms and companies, and got to interact with people. And that way I could build up my networking skills, and I think that's what helped me get to my current job now. You never say no, and you just try to keep your open mind any opportunity you have. So yeah, I think joining whatever fraternity club you need, it helps you get your foot in the door.
I was part of the Honor Society, so I was able to go to England and visit Roxton. So that was definitely very fun. We had a lot of different opportunities with April. She was able to connect us with Kayla, and basically we learned all about women in business, opening up. We had a whole week seminar. We were able to go to Oxford for a presentation, and then we were able to go to the UN. Actually, the person who held the presentation at Oxford in England was presenting at the UN during the General Assembly and invited us out. So that was definitely cool.
Very good. I think we have time for 2 more questions. I know one more person has a question on the chat. I'll have the last one, but my last question before I pass on. So what would be the best career advice for anyone who's planning on going into either accounting or finance or with wealth management? What's the best career advice you can give them while they're in college? All of you.
I think if you follow your core, I mean, I got my master's and my bachelor's in accounting, but I'm in a wealth management position. But either way, it was me following my core. I wanted to get into accounting because I wanted to work in the IRS. Not even for the law purposes, but because I wanted to show people that it doesn't have to be a bad thing, and I wanted to help them. And I think that following that brought me to my wealth management because I was able to see how I can still include my math intellectual side and still help people. That's definitely my core, and that's my most important thing. I follow that all through.
And that's why you excel too. And Fiona runs our like tax process for tax, anything that's like tax related, she really runs it for our team. It's probably the accounting in background in you too, and then, you know, wanting to help in that capacity. So, go ahead. You're closer to college than me.
Just go for it.
When I did my master's, I was a full-time staff accountant at a law firm, actually, and with that position, I found I did not want to do that anymore. I didn't want to work for the firm. I kind of wanted to be more client-based. When you are just an accountant or a firm, you don't really get to communicate with anyone. Like I was in an office on the first floor, and I talked to absolutely no one. No one knew who I was. We had like 5 floors, so people on the top were like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I started the accounting 8 months ago."
I'm on the first floor.
Yeah, so I think when you just try new opportunities, you can really find what you're looking for. And I think I have that with this.
Best piece of advice I'll give any college student: step out of your comfort zone, get out there, network, find the people that are going to help you get where you want to be. You know, when I think of the amount of resources and advantages that are available to the incoming generations of college students, it is tenfold more than what was even available to me from 2003 to 2007. You know, that's probably the best piece of advice I can give you guys, because your network really is potentially going to be what helps you get where you want to go in your career, whether that's a recruiter, whether that's a professional within the field that you're pursuing, whether it's your mom and dad's best friend who works in the industry that you're targeting. You know, connect with people, take advantage of the opportunities that are presented through your various universities, clubs, organizations. The more active you can be, the more out there you put yourself, the more likely you are to have somebody in your inner circle that's going to be willing to help you and give you that first chance to break through that wall.
That's excellent advice, and I would second everything that you guys have said. Also, I would say keep an open mind, like be serendipitous. You don't know, meet as many people as you can, talk to as many people as you can. Go out of your comfort zone, like you said, ask to have a coffee with somebody and interview them for information, right? See what their day is like. You don't know that you won't like that career, don't be closed off to it. But also explore different departments within companies. You might think you want to go into one company, but then, you know, you go in there, you get your dream job, and it's nothing like what you thought it would be like. And, you know, so keep an open mind, because different companies are going to offer you different things. And, you know, if you end up somewhere, make the best of it. Even if you think it's your second choice or it's not this or not, make the best of it. Keep building your Rolodex, keep building your network, keep talking to people, because it's those human connections that are going to help you. It's not you sitting at home and not talking to anyone. It's you getting out there, calling people, showing up, asking for advice. That's gonna get people to understand you're interested, and they're gonna help you. There's still good people out there.
Well, I think that's all the time we have today, but thank you guys so much for coming in. I know our members did a good job in person. Hopefully, we might do this again this spring semester, you know, with our professional development program. So yeah, with that, club members just stay behind, have a couple announcements to make. If we get you a picture, because we're gonna feature you guys on our good page for next week. We do our throwback picture. Awesome. I just gotta, like an hour.